Today we're going to discuss the most fun, or you could say broken build in the game. Several content creators have already shared their versions of this build, but after testing it on stream I made some changes that I'll be sharing with you. This is a Barbarian build designed for PvP and it's incredibly effective. This absurd build turns the Barbarian into a burst damage dealer while maintaining all of its tankiness. Best of all, you can use this build with any resonance and still have a great experience. Before we dive into the details, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future builds. As always, let's start with the skills required for this build. First, we have Hammer of the Ancients, using 4 different essences to make it powerful enough to almost one-shot enemies. One of these is the new offhand essence. Thanks to this, Hammer of the Ancients charges energy with each of your other attacks. Each attack generates 20 energy up to a maximum of 100. And you generate energy once per attack. Using the skill consumes your current energy, increasing its strike radius and damage. Additionally, we have 2 main hand essences. One slows enemy movement by 50%, while the other increases the skill's damage by 19%. Finally, we have a chest essence. For every negative condition an enemy has, Hammer of the Ancients damage is increased by 19% up to 76%. Having eternal gear for this skill is highly beneficial as well. The eternal affix of Hammer of the Ancients increases critical hit damage against stunned enemies, and yes, we have a skill that applies a stun. Our second skill is Demoralize, with a head essence that applies the stun. I am sure many of you are familiar with this essence, but let's review it. Demoralize now pulls in all nearby enemies, dealing damage, stunning them for 2 seconds, and removing all beneficial effects applied by skills or primary attacks. Next we have Undying Rage, which is straightforward. Enter a rage for 4 seconds that prevents you from dying and causes all your attacks to heal you for 20% of the damage done. Lastly, we have Sprint. It's been a while since we used this skill in a PvP build, and I'm thrilled to have it back because it makes everything easier in battlegrounds. We are using the new Pants essence, which turns Sprint into Sleet Sprint for 5 seconds, increasing movement speed by 50% and continuously inflicting nearby enemies with a 30% chill effect. We also have a Shoulder essence, which leaves a trail of flames, dealing damage to enemies over 4 seconds. Plus, if you have Eternal Gear for Sprint, it can help you a lot. The eternal affix of Sprint grants a chance to be immune to knockback, chill and slow effects. Of course, we need to choose a primary attack. And for this build, we're using Lacerate without any essences. Now let's discuss the set items. I'm using 6 pieces of Banquet of Ice to gain damage and critical hit chance buffs. Additionally, thanks to the 6-piece effect, I have another way to deal a good amount of damage every 40 seconds. For the other 2 pieces, I'm using V2s to increase the duration of all beneficial effects. While you can make this build work with other set items, I'm very satisfied with what I'm using. Next, let's review all the legendary items we are using. For the headpiece, we have Spartusk. Demoralize now pulls in all nearby enemies, dealing damage, stunning, and removing all beneficial effects applied by skills or primary attacks. For the chest piece, we are using Renitent Rage. For every negative condition an enemy has, Hammer of the Ancients damage is increased by 19% up to 76%. For the shoulders, we have the trusty Hell's Legacy. Sprint also leaves a trail of flames, dealing damage to enemies over 4 seconds. For the pants, we have Snowdrifter. Sprint is now Sleet Sprint, increasing movement speed and continuously chilling nearby enemies. For the first main hand, we have Rage Color. Hammer of the Ancients is now electrified, slowing enemy movement by 50% for 3.2 seconds. For the second main hand, we have Stonefall. Hammer of the Ancients damage is increased by 19%. For the first offhand, we are using Flickerton. Hammer of the Ancients now charges energy with each of your other attacks, which is consumed on use to increase its damage and strike radius. When it comes to the second offhand, unfortunately there isn't an essence we can use with this build. However, we are keeping Dishonored Blade just in case we want to change our head essence to Heartless Terror before the match starts. You can make this decision after checking out the enemy team. For example, if the enemy has a lot of wizards, you can switch your head essence and play with immunity. In that case, this offhand will help you increase the duration of Demoralize by 39%. Plus, you'll still benefit from the Awakening bonus, which gives you a 10% cooldown reduction on Demoralize. Regarding cursed properties, feel free to go with your personal preference, or you can use 6 pieces of Detested and 2 pieces of Atrophied. For Reforge bonuses, I am using my defensive setup, which includes 4 pieces of Barrier and an increase in the duration of beneficial effects on every single legendary item. Now let's talk about legendary gems. Personally, I'm using Spiteful Blood, Roiling Consequence, Stormbolt, Seeping Bile, Bottled Hope, Blood-Soaked Jade, Frozen Heart, and Starfire Shard. But let me offer you some additional suggestions. From the 1-star legendary gems, you can use Everlasting Torment, Berserker's Eye, and Misery Elixir. From the 2-star legendary gems, you can use Viper's Bite, Pain Clasp, Mother's Lament, and Fervent Fang. As for Paragon, I'm using Brawler with Finishing Touch, Defender of Sanctuary, Heavy Armor, Rugged, and Combat Expertise. If you want to choose a legendary skill, Benefactor is a good option. I think that covers everything about this build. I'll leave links to other creators' videos in the description so you can check those out as well. If you have suggestions or questions, let me know in the comments section. Thanks for tuning in and take care.